But first, nearly everyone in Puerto Rico woke up Monday morning to no power and no clean drinking water. That's if they could sleep at all, as Hurricane Fiona made landfall. The storm hit over the weekend, sweeping roofs from homes, lifting bridges from their moorings, and cratering roads. All this as Puerto Rico is still trying to recover from the impact of Hurricane Maria in 2017. Nearly 3,000 people died in that storm 5 years ago. David Begnaud is in San Juan with the latest.
Hurricane Fiona roared ashore, dumping as much as 25 inches of rain, driving up winds to 91 miles per hour, all along Puerto Rico's southern coast. There were moments like this, neighbors with a boat, some rope, and a desperate will to save a family trapped in high water. There has been catastrophic flooding and mudslides, down trees and power lines. Brown floodwater flowed in all directions, seemingly swallowing everything in its path. In Utuado, in the center of the island, this new metal bridge, built just 4 years ago after Hurricane Maria, was swept away like a twig. Nearly the entire island is in the dark. Some 1.3 million people are still without power. Almost 840,000 have no running water.
We got in a helicopter and we first flew over to Baja. You could see people standing on cars on the second story of their homes. And then we headed all the way west to the municipality of Añasco.
That's where, above the water and out of danger, Norma Rivera grew up and is determined to stay.
I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. We're going to make it work, even if we got to live in tents.
Lourdes, who also rode out the storm here, says her community was just starting to recover from Hurricane Maria back in 2017.
They worked so hard for their things and now they're losing it again.
Look, it's still raining. It's hard to say Fiona is totally gone. We're getting the final rain bands that are moving through. You know, tomorrow's going to mark 5 years that Hurricane Maria ravaged the island of Puerto Rico, and that cut power to people for months. The question is, how long is it going to be out now? And John, that's really going to be the test for Luma Energy, which is the private company hired by the government to come in and rebuild the grid and maintain transmission and distribution. If they can get the power on within the next 3 to 5 days, the government will declare it a success. If they can't, as one Puerto Rican said to me, all hell's going to break loose. The bottom line is, because of Fiona, Puerto Ricans are going to wake up tomorrow with no power yet again.
David Begnaud in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Thank you, David. For more on this, I want to bring in FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell. Madam Administrator, thank you so much for joining us. You're headed down to Puerto Rico. What are they most in need of there?
Well, John, first, thanks for having me on today. And yes, I talked to the governor earlier today to hear from him exactly what the needs were. And what we're hearing right now and what our focus is right now is on making sure that we have all the life-saving resources available if needed, and then what we need for power restoration. I want to be able to get on the ground as early as I can, so I am headed there in the morning so I can see firsthand what the needs are, talk with the governor, talk with the local communities, get a better understanding so we can get the right resources in place.
And power restoration seems to be quite a big problem. What is the scope of that problem? How bad do you think it is in advance of your arriving there to see it firsthand?
Yeah, I think, what we're seeing right now is the power is slowly coming back on. But what we see with all hurricanes is that power is one of the first things that we lose, and it does slowly come back on. The report that I got earlier today is that the generation side of the power is just fine, and that there doesn't seem to be any damages there. So our focus is going to be on how do we get the transmission side of the power grid back up and running.
Right. So the stations that are delivering the power, okay, but it's got to get to the people. And that is a challenge for Puerto Rico. It's 5 years after Hurricane Maria, and there has been a lot of study and analysis of Puerto Rico. It was so hard hit, nearly 3,000 people died. And there has been, there are 3,600 homes that still have tarp on the roof. The 21% of the building projects, only 21% have been completed. Is there a particular challenge to Puerto Rico in building up infrastructure left over 5 years after Maria that makes it harder to recover from this current hurricane?
Yeah, John, I think, anytime we're faced with a disaster like Hurricane Maria, that is so catastrophic that the recovery is very complicated and it takes time. And we spend the first amount of that time really focused on those life-saving, life-sustaining actions and putting those temporary measures in place so we can look at the rebuilding. And when you look at rebuilding, especially in a place like Puerto Rico, what we're really focused on is how do we make sure that we are rebuilding more resilient, that we're not just putting it back the way it was, but we're taking the extra time to figure out what is it going to take to improve it and make sure it can withstand future events like we're seeing today. And then when you have a disaster like Fiona that's coming just 5 years after Maria, it does make the recovery a little bit more complicated. But I'm confident that the team that we have in place and what I saw a few weeks ago when I was down there checking in on the recovery, we've got the right people and a really solid partnership between us and the Puerto Rican government and making sure that we're helping Puerto Rico not just get back to normal, but better than they were before.
You're in a tricky position because you're dealing with the acute emergency of the moment, which requires all of your attention and compassion and skill. And yet there are these what seem to be chronic problems. Is it your view that they are not chronic, that this is just the pace that it takes after 5 years, or that your compassion of the moment notwithstanding, Puerto Rico has challenges that are that it's not meeting in terms of rebuilding that infrastructure?
You know, I think, John, what we're seeing around the country is that we've got some infrastructure that's just aging across our country. And one of the focuses that FEMA has had is how are we taking steps now before a disaster to improve the resiliency in communities across the nation. And Puerto Rico is no different, right? They've got some aging infrastructure, and what Maria did is give us that opportunity to help now improve that infrastructure and rebuild it stronger. And one of the things that FEMA's been really focused on is not just this response and recovery, but how do we get into communities that also have aging infrastructure to help them put mitigation projects in place, increase their resiliency, increase their preparedness so they can reduce the impacts that they're seeing from these types of severe weather events that seem to be increasing.
And as a last question, while you're trying to shore up the old weaknesses of infrastructure, nature is working against you. Climate change is only making disasters like these hurricanes more likely, more frequent. So how does FEMA keep pace, given all the back work you've got to do, with the changing nature of weather as a result of climate change?
I think that's the challenge of our day right now. I mean, FEMA is postured and we are ready to respond, and we will continue to respond and help communities recover. But we have to put a lot of effort into what we're doing beforehand. We know that the climate is changing, and we know that we're seeing an increase in the level of threat, the types of threats. The hurricanes that we're seeing right now are producing more rainfall than they have in the past, creating different sets of hazards. So we have to put the time in now to better understand what actions we can take to reduce the impacts from these future threats. Otherwise, we won't be able to keep up with the increased number of responses that we're going to have. We have to do the work now to build that resilience into these communities.
FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell, thank you so much for your time.